Heaven Burns Red dropped huge nerfs and people are not happy. I hate to say it, but I fear for the future of Heaven Burns Red. In Japan, they recently introduced a bunch of adjustments to combat and people are not happy. Changes to the overdrive system, some are good, some are bad. The overdrive system works like many games. As you fight, you fill up a gauge. You can change the overdrive gauge up to 3, or charge it rather. Activate the gauge and you gain 10% increased damage bonus and extra turns based on the gauge level. With the old system, you could chain your overdrive to activate as soon as one ended. Under the new system, there's a cooldown before you can activate it again. So this is basically limiting how many times you can overdrive, which then it directly hinders content, right? It directly hinders progress. It then becomes a detriment to your progression, to battles you may have already done in the past, to future content, and indirectly makes it more difficult. Under the new system, there's a cooldown before you can activate it again. They implemented a cap to how many times you can overdrive now. Oh, a limit. They've imposed a limitation on how many times you can actually trigger the feature in game now. That is going to affect new players though. Because old players, right, they could clear content by chaining their overdrive system, but new players that get into the game aren't gonna have that benefit, so they're gonna find content significantly more difficult. On the plus side, they increased the damage bonus for Overdrive 2 to 20%, Overdrive 3 to 30%. Still, the changes greatly devalue certain units who are designed around building their overdrive gauge, which many people had spent money for rolls to acquire. So people bought paid characters. They used gacha to obtain characters that were specifically catered to maximizing min-maxing via the overdrive system. And now they have implemented a cap on how many times you can use that system in battle, which, I mean, that destroys the character. That is terrible. Who then, if you implement something like that, that can drastically affect the effectiveness of a character that you paid for, why would you want to purchase a new character in the future knowing that they could do this again? I understand why they're upset. Heard the story is very good, so did I, yeah. Whoever had that idea should get fired, yeah. A core mechanism in your game that some characters are designed around. Nerfed. Characters that you buy. It's terrible, it's crazy. Here's a threat. Remove or ease the hard cap. I think proposed changes need a public beta test. Yeah. Can make the changes apply only to arts battles, leave the rest of the game untouched. They're in a tough spot. Can't say I'm super knowledgeable about this, but from what I understand, releasing a big system change like this that could drastically impact people's accounts should be taken very carefully and seriously. I'm glad they decided to reconsider and let it cook a bit more. Wait, they decided to reconsider, but then they went ahead with it anyway? They just dropped it. They were reconsidering it and then just went, nah. And did it anyway. I'm sick of the games making the worst decisions. Yeah, I know. Thankfully, the games that I typically tend to really enjoy, Nikke, Wuwa, Arknights, Brown Dust 2, they're all games that don't have these issues. Is it even allowed? Unfortunately, it seems to be, yeah. That's just not a thing with these types of live service games. You cannot change core battle mechanics for the worse and nerf old characters. In theory, you shouldn't be allowed to, but some studios clearly do. And should not be trusted. Changes to damage calculations, this is very bad. This one gets complicated. To put it simply, various bonuses, buffs, and how buffs stack have been tweaked. The end result is a potential reduction of damage to about 1/3 of what it was before. That's a loss of 2/3 of your total damage. What? Arknights players, Hypergriff, please buff old units. Heaven Burns Red players, please stop nerfing the entire game! Did they explain why they're doing it? Dude, they've effectively nerfed 2/3 of your total damage output via bonuses, via buffs, how buffs stack. So that is, so how buffs stack, buffs, bonuses. So these are also directly tied to characters, right? So buffs stack via the buffs that are used by certain characters. So if they stack differently, if they've been tweaked, or if they no longer stack, then characters that you built no longer have that same level of synergy with each other, which again, and I know I'm saying this, that effectively you are paying for temporary utility that can apparently just be completely retracted, redacted, removed, nerfed at the drop of a pin. It's a disgusting nerf. Incomprehensibly stupid. Before we go any further, I do want to take a moment here to thank all of my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I genuinely cannot thank you all enough for the support. New Rainbow SS units, like a higher rarity SSR or something. Basically, they're just SS units, but much harder to advance. So why the fuck do you need them? Are they stronger? With rainbows, you can't use gold tokens that you can earn to raise your limit break. The only way to raise your limit break is with dupes. Reactions from Japan, people are not happy. The Japanese stream version is getting massively review bombed. I understand why. Many with hundreds, even thousands of hours having changed their rating to negative, currently down to overwhelmingly bad at 6%. Whales have said they're quitting. Wait, what? Holy! 5% of reviews are positive. 95% of the reviews are negative. 95! Holy shit! Dude, I have never seen a gacha game flop that bad. I've never seen a gacha game have a 5% positive review rate on Steam. That is the worst in gacha. That is. I think we found it. We have found the lowest rated gacha game on Steam. Whoa, that is a bloodbath. It is. It is. No, so here's the thing. This is terrible. Is genuinely unabashedly terrible. But at the same time, this is hilarious because these people, the studio is so out of touch with their community that they are destroying what was a popular, mostly positively received game over on Steam. A game that everyone said looked good, played good, had a great story, was so much fun. And then they're tanking it out of nowhere, just out of pure and utter stupidity and incompetence. God freaking damn it. It's lower than your self-esteem. How many percent of our reviews are negative? 9. That's not bad. 95. I think this is the first big scandal for Heaven Burns Red. Yeah. I mean, I know what I'm titling this video. Everyone is quitting. And that would not be an over-exaggeration. Whales stating they're quitting, 5% positive reviews. Infinity Nikki patch flashbacks. It's concerning for the future since they'll do this again. That is concerning for the future because they were reviewing things and decided, you know what? No, this is acceptable, and they did it anyway. What's the strategy here? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Maybe they thought by doing this, it would increase the difficulty of the game and therefore make it more necessary to acquire dupes for characters to make them more powerful or something. I'm not sure. Whales are quitting the game too. I don't even play it. It's burning literally. At this point, just start making waffles. Tell drama before in Japan. I didn't well, I mean, I guess this subreddit, our subreddit chat, by the way, which if you are not a part of, you definitely should be. Our subreddit did not exist during those instances with drama, so it's been crazier because this one used to be the most popular gacha over there. Yeah. Uma Musume, Heaven Burns Red were two of Japan's biggest gacha games, and now Japan is saying, you know what, fuck you. Especially some gacha games need a PTR server that suggests they would listen to feedback. Yeah. Evidently, this studio did not. They looked at it, they said, we're gonna reevaluate it, and then literally like a day later said, okay, we reevaluated, we're good to go. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you're not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.